Hello, hello, people. Welcome back to the show. It's the Gooner Tokes with me, Tokes. It's Monday, so that means we're going to be doing a little bit of a review from the weekend's Premier League action. There's still another game this evening, but I don't care. I'm going to review some of the biggest stories from the weekend. And you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, all that lovely stuff. Help me on the road to 500. Cleared 100 subs, going for 500. Join me on the journey, people. But let's get straight into it, because a lot of exciting big results over the weekend happened. Let's kick things off with Manchester United dunking on Man City 2-0. What a great game that was, to be honest. End-to-end football, some real quality on display, and Manchester United were ruthless. They dealt with Manchester City. I think we were all surprised by that one. I thought City would, put the pressure on United. I didn't think United would be able to come out and not just get the win, but play like that. They really schooled City in that game, and obviously City are in a title race and they dropped some important points, which meant that all the other games took on an extra importance. But that was definitely, I think, the biggest result from the weekend. Manchester United defeating Manchester City deservedly. Yeah, if you ask me. I think if you ask everybody that saw the game, Manchester City were well beaten. Their defence was all at sea. Transitions in midfield were killing them, and they really have a long way to go to secure that squad and secure that first 11, because they're leaking goals, leaking chances, and they got dismantled by Manchester United. So thank you for that, United. I think all us Arsenal fans were really grateful for that. And then later in the day, Arsenal played Forest. I've done my detailed review of the game. It was 0-0. We didn't really create enough to win the game, but that was a blatant penalty. I've done a whole video on that as well. Can't nobody tell me that wasn't a penalty, and it cost us at the end of the day. Those are the decisions that they should be getting right. I mean, it's one of the most blatant handballs I've ever seen. If that's not a handball, then what the hell is? They just come up with whatever they want to justify whatever decision they make, and they contradict themselves. It's so hypocritical. Like, seriously, these refs, I've done a whole video rant about it. Go check that out on my channel, because the refs in England either shit or corrupt. Take your pick. Pick your poison. So Arsenal squandered the chance to go 9 points clear of Chelsea at the top of the City. Chelsea wish of City at the top of the table, and we went 7 points clear only. But still, that's 2 wins and a draw. Before City have a chance to catch up with us. So not a bad point at the end of the day. Maybe, yes, when you think about where Forest are in the table, but that's a bit of a false position if you ask me. They are not a 17th place team, and they showed it. They worked really well, solid, organised, difficult to break down, but a blatant pen. So Arsenal only got 1 point in that, but like I said, we stretched the lead over City, and we were all looking to the next day to see what was going to happen in the Villa game. Villa were playing Everton at home, and I think everybody, again, thought Villa would just deal with Everton. You're playing at home. Everton, they've picked up, this season, but they're still not, one of the top teams in the league, and you expected that them going away to Villa Park, that it was going to be a tough day at the office. And the game finishes 1-0 to Everton. Unbelievable stuff. Villa dropping points, missing the chance to cut the lead at the top, because we had only got a point the day before. So we were all watching the game, hoping Villa wouldn't be able to capitalise, and they couldn't. They really choked. Is one thing drawing, but losing at home to Everton when you're in a battle for the title, I guess, or at least for Champions League. Emery gave a weird interview talking about how they're not even competing for the top 5 or something like that. I mean, I don't know what that is all about, but Villa are, one of the best teams in the league this season, but that was, some sloppy points to drop, and what that meant was Arsenal were able basically to capitalise this weekend, and even though we didn't win, we still stretched our lead at the top of the table. So 7 points ahead ain't nothing to be sniffed at at this stage of the season. Do you know what I mean? We still got quite a few games to go, but it's a good position to be in. A lot of points still to play for. City will drop more points this season. So will Villa. And, probably so will we. So we just got to make sure that we maintain that gap between us and whoever is in second place. City and Villa at the moment are battling for that. Wow, that's a shock, both of them losing at the weekend. City against United, Villa against Everton. What a turn up. So I guess that point wasn't the worst point in the world. Forest is a tough place to go. We were playing away from home. Third away game in a row. One more tomorrow against Inter Milan. I'm going to do my preview video for that a little bit later. And then we got United at the weekend. But I'll talk about that in a second. Another shock from the weekend was Liverpool drawing at home to Burnley. They were 1-0 up. And Liverpool just, again, they can't see games out, you know? They keep conceding sloppy goals. And this is against Burnley at Anfield. That is crazy. Anfield, you know, it's one of the toughest places to go in the league traditionally, but Burnley have gone there and taken a point. Little Burnley, like way down in the table. What are they? 17th? No, 17th is Forest. So what, Burnley, like 18th, 19th? Seriously, that is crazy. I don't think anybody saw that coming. Let me just double check where they are. Burnley, yeah, they're 19th in the league. 19th in the league, goes to Anfield and gets a point. That just shows you how difficult the league is. Do you know what I mean? It ain't no walk in the park. Every game is tough, whether you're going to somebody in 19th place or going to somebody in third place. Every game is tough. And that's what makes the Premier League one of the most interesting leagues in the world. The competitive nature of it. Anybody taking points off anybody. Burnley proving that by taking a point at Anfield. So Liverpool also missing a chance to get closer to City, because Liverpool was the 3 o'clock game on Saturday. So they'd already seen what had happened in the United and City game. To be fair, so had we. So nobody really able to fully capitalize on City losing that game. But hey, at least we got a point. Chelsea did all right. 2-0 win against Brentford. Rosselló gets his first Premier League points. And you got to say fair play. Clean sheet as well. Sanchez keeps a clean sheet. He's not far off of the Golden Glove competition this year. But good win for Chelsea, to be honest. That leaves them 6th in the table, a point behind United and Liverpool. So, you know, them teams are battling for the Champions League places. That's what it's going to be, really. So that's going to be an interesting one to look at. Who gets 4th place between Liverpool, United and Chelsea. That's crazy that United are battling Liverpool for a Champions League place. What a turnaround from last season to this one. Champions Liverpool, of course, and United finishing way down in the table. So fair play. United are having a decent season. Now they've got rid of Amorim. They seem to maybe have turned things around, but it's only one game. We'll see what happens when they play us at Emirates Stadium on the weekend. Huge game. I'll do a preview for that closer to the time. Spurs, Gold Spurs. Thomas Frank, we know you're a gooner. We know it. And what a terrible result for Spurs, losing 2-1 to West Ham. West Ham 18th in the league. Spurs 14th. I guess there's not much, space between them, but Spurs lose at home again. How many games is that they've lost at home? Seriously, they've lost as many games at home in that stadium as we have in our entire history of the Emirates, and we've been in ours like 3-4 times longer than theirs. So Spurs are shocking this season. I'm not interested in why. I'm just enjoying the ride and watching them crash and burn. And it's, to be honest, all bants aside, it's a bit of a shock. I thought that Thomas Frank would go in and do a good job at Spurs. I rate him highly as a manager. I thought he would be the one to get them playing well, to get them organised and, make the most out of the players he's got because of what he did with Brentford. He got more out of the players, greater than the sum of their parts, really. So Frank bombing at Spurs is not something that was on my bingo card for 2025, 2026, but hilarious. How long is he going to survive? I think that is a big conversation to be had now. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time I finish this video, he's been sacked, because the Spurs fans aren't going to tolerate it anymore. They're not happy. That whole Cupgate thing where he was holding an Arsenal Cup, hilarious. But it just goes to show the disarray at Spurs at the minute. They can't buy a win. There's no stability. And their stadium is just a tourist attraction. That's all it is. People go there, have a day out, go do the go-karts, whatever, have a nice meal, get a beer, and then do one. Seriously, that's all it's for. It's just a tourist attraction because there is no football like identity going on in that place. So Spurs are in trouble, they're going to get dragged down into a relegation battle if they're not careful. They got to start winning some games. And like I said, Thomas Frank is under pressure. There's no two ways about it. See what happens in their next game. I think they've obviously got a Champions League game. Spurs being in the Champions League is a travesty. It's a travesty. I mean, they were awful last year, awful this year, and they're in the Champions League for beating United in the final of the Europa League. That is just, they need to say, even if you win it, if you haven't finished in the top half of your league, you ain't going to the Champions League, because that is ridiculous, seeing Spurs battling for this trophy. Madness. Anyway, lost for Spurs at home. What happens next? Anyone's guess. Sit back, eat some popcorn, enjoy the ride. As for Arsenal, big game at the weekend with United. Big one. United looking like, a little bit of a more difficult prospect under Michael Carrick so far. So hopefully we can teach him a lesson. But like I said, I will go into my preview of that closer to the date. It's going to be a big game. But tomorrow, Champions League returns. It feels like it's been ages. Honestly, it feels like it's been like a whole season since we saw Champions League football, since we beat Bayern Munich. So good to have it back. We're playing away at Inter Milan. Look out for my video later on. But yeah, that's the big stories from the weekend. Crazy weekend. Ultimately, Arsenal took advantage. Most of the teams, fighting for the title. City and Villa both losing. Arsenal drew, but it's still an extra point, so 7 points clear. Not a bad place to be in at this stage of the season. City in second, Villa in third, Liverpool fourth. The battle for the league is hotting up, people. Come on, I will see you later on for my video, the preview, Inter Milan. Have a great day, people. See you next time. Peace. Bye.